Hi, I'm Anna from Humans Decoded, and welcome to a new report. On July 6, 2025, a seemingly innocuous moment at a Coldplay concert at Gillette Stadium in Boston rapidly escalated into a significant corporate crisis for Astronomer, a US-based software company. Its CEO, Andy Byron, and Chief People Officer, CPO, Kristin Cabot, were captured by the Jumbotron's kiss cam in what was described as a cozy embrace. Their immediate panicked reaction, ducking out of frame, hiding their faces, and freezing in a stiff, mirrored stance, drew the attention of Coldplay frontman Chris Martin, whose spontaneous quip, "Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy," instantly transformed a private interaction into a public spectacle. A video of the incident, primarily shared by a fan on TikTok, rapidly went viral, garnering over 60 million views across various social media platforms, including TikTok, X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram. This widespread dissemination led to intense public speculation about an alleged affair, sparking a torrent of memes, controversy, and critical scrutiny of workplace ethics within Astronomer. The incident demonstrates how quickly a seemingly private or minor event can become a major corporate crisis when it involves public figures and is amplified by pervasive digital platforms. Chris Martin's direct, humorous, and speculative comment immediately elevated the moment to a pointed, public query, acting as an exponential multiplier that turned a localized event into a global corporate crisis. This highlights the need for companies to anticipate and prepare for such rapid escalation, as traditional crisis management timelines are often rendered obsolete. The fallout was immediate and far-reaching. Andy Byron's wife, Megan Kerrigan Byron, reacted by removing Byron from her social media profiles and subsequently deleting her Facebook account. Both Byron and Cabot became radio silent, deactivating or making their LinkedIn profiles private and refraining from public statements. Astronomer, initially silent, eventually placed both executives on leave, appointed co-founder and chief product officer Pete DeJoy as interim CEO, and launched a formal investigation into leadership accountability. The involvement of the chief people officer in an alleged affair with the CEO, especially one caught so publicly, fundamentally challenges trust in leadership, internal HR processes, and the company's stated values. The CPO's role is inherently about upholding company culture, ethics, and HR policies. This situation represents a profound breach of professional conduct at the highest levels, directly impacting employee morale, external perception, and the company's ability to attract and retain talent. It underscores that the crisis is not merely about an alleged affair, but about a deep challenge to the integrity of the organization's ethical framework, particularly when the CPO's past statements about winning trust of CEOs or building award-winning cultures are resurfaced and viewed through a new, ironic lens. The incident. A viral corporate scandal unfolds, detailed account of the Coldplay concert event. The incident that plunged Astronomer into a viral corporate crisis occurred on July 6th during a Coldplay concert at Gillette Stadium in Boston, Massachusetts. The stadium was packed with over 1,000 fans. During a routine audience engagement segment, the stadium's large Jumbotron camera zoomed in on Andy Byron, CEO of Astronomer, and Kristin Cabot, the company's chief people officer. Eyewitness accounts described the pair as being in a cozy embrace, or cuddling and hugging each other. One report noted they were swaying to Coldplay's Yellow before Byron leaned in for a kiss. The moment their faces appeared on the immense screen, both Byron and Cabot reacted with immediate and palpable alarm. Byron was observed to practically dive out of frame or abruptly pull away and duck behind a barrier, while Cabot quickly turned away and hid her face, or covered her face with her hands. Their reported verbal reactions, captured by onlookers, included Byron exclaiming and Cabot mouthing, "This is awkward." Coldplay frontman Chris Martin, observing their startled reaction from the stage, spontaneously quipped, "Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy." He later added with a hint of concern, "I hope we didn't do something bad." Martin's comment, though delivered humorously, instantly framed the interaction as potentially illicit and served to ignite public speculation, turning a private moment into a widespread public inquiry. Initial viral spread and public identification. The pivotal moment was captured by Grace Springer, an 8-year-old fan from New Jersey who recorded the incident on her phone and subsequently posted it to TikTok. Springer initially perceived it as merely an interesting reaction to the kiss cam, but her friends, noting it was the talk of the concert, encouraged her to share it. The clip rapidly went viral, disseminating across TikTok, X, and Instagram. Grace Springer's original video alone amassed over 60 million views. The immediate capture and dissemination via social media transformed a localized public moment into a global, permanent digital record. The individual's panic and immediate attempts to hide were themselves part of the viral content, seemingly confirming to viewers that something was amiss. Chris Martin's comment, while a joke, functioned as an authoritative label for the interaction, guiding public interpretation. This highlights the pervasive nature of digital visibility and the loss of privacy for individuals, especially those in high-profile positions. Any public appearance, even at a concert, can instantaneously become a career-defining or damaging event if captured and amplified online. For executives, this means an expectation of professional conduct that is always on, extending even to their personal time. Furthermore, Grace Springer's initial intent was not malicious, yet her simple act of sharing led to a massive corporate crisis. The narrative was then shaped by millions of anonymous users through speculation, memes, and online sleuthing. This demonstrates that in the age of user-generated content, companies and individuals lose control over their narratives almost instantly. This underscores the critical need for proactive digital reputation management and rapid, decisive communication strategies. Waiting for official confirmation or attempting to control the narrative through traditional channels is often too slow when the public has already formed its own conclusions based on viral content, allowing the public narrative to fill any informational void. Immediate aftermath, public reaction, and personal fallout analysis of social media virality. The incident was swiftly dubbed Coldplaygate by online users, a term that quickly gained traction across platforms. The video's virality was exceptional, with Grace Springer's TikTok alone exceeding 60 million views. Social media platforms were deluged with thousands of memes, snarky posts, and scathing comments. Reactions were varied, with some users criticizing the executive's behavior, while others dismissed it as a private matter. Common refrains included "busted" and "zero sympathy." Users sharply criticized the duo's judgment, workplace ethics, and the sheer awkwardness of the situation. Even Elon Musk contributed to the online chatter by reacting to a tweet with an emoji, further fueling the widespread discussion. Reactions from Andy Byron's wife and the individuals involved. The public outpouring of sympathy largely gravitated towards Megan Kerrigan Byron, Andy Byron's wife, whose family photos circulated online. In a widely observed move, she quietly removed Byron from her Facebook name and subsequently deleted her entire account amid the backlash. This action was broadly interpreted as a direct response to the alleged affair. Both Andy Byron and Kristin Cabot maintained a radio-silent posture, refraining from issuing any public statements regarding the incident. Andy Byron's LinkedIn account was deactivated, and both their professional profiles showed little reference to Astronomer Now, with LinkedIn comments disabled. Kristin Cabot also went offline. Their only reported reactions at the time of the incident were Byron's expletive, "Fucking hell, it's me," and Cabot's quiet admission, "This is awkward." Regarding Kristin Cabot's marital status, The majority of reports indicate she was recently divorced from Kenneth C. Thornby, with their divorce finalized in 0 after being filed in 2008. However, one report stated she was also married, which contradicts the prevailing information. Andy Byron is confirmed to be married with 2 children. In the wake of the scandal, previously shared information about both executives resurfaced. Kristin Cabot's old LinkedIn posts, including one where she stated she wins the trust of CEOs, and another where she was energized by conversations with Andy Byron upon joining Astronomer, went viral. These statements, once professional, now carried an ironic undertone in the context of the controversy. Similarly, Andy Byron's past gushing praise for Cabot when she was hired, describing her as having exceptional leadership and being a perfect fit, also resurfaced, inviting new interpretations. Furthermore, Kristin Cabot's past LinkedIn posts, where she boasted about building award-winning cultures and winning trust with CEOs, became highly ironic and damaging in the context of the scandal. Similarly, Andy Byron's prior gushing praise for her now appeared potentially indicative of a deeper, inappropriate connection. What was once a professional asset, a strong personal brand and positive internal endorsements, became a significant liability used by the public to highlight perceived hypocrisy and ethical breaches. This demonstrates that executives' personal and professional online presences are inextricably linked. Past statements, even seemingly innocuous ones, can be recontextualized and weaponized during a crisis, underscoring the need for consistent ethical behavior that aligns with one's public persona and professional responsibilities, as well as the inherent risks of personal branding for high-level executives. The perspective of the fan who captured the video. Corporate response, leadership changes, and internal investigation. Astronomer's initial stance and subsequent actions. Astronomer, as a company, maintained an initial silent stance following the viral incident, making no official comment for a period. This silence, however, allowed the rumor mill to flourish, intensifying speculation and enabling the public narrative to be shaped largely by external interpretations. However, the company later confirmed a leadership shakeup on Friday, following the Tuesday concert, in a post on X. Both Astronomer CEO Andy Byron and Chief People Officer Kristin Cabot were officially put on leave. The company stated it was unaware of any personal relationship between the two prior to the incident. Reports indicated that Astronomer delayed confirming this decision because Byron was negotiating an exit package and resisting a swift resignation, suggesting a strategic move towards damage control and a clean break, rather than a full defense of his actions. Appointment of interim CEO Pete DeJoy and formal investigation. In a move to stabilize leadership amidst the escalating crisis, co-founder and chief product officer Pete DeJoy was appointed as interim CEO. This swift appointment aimed to provide immediate leadership continuity and demonstrate a proactive step towards restoring confidence. Concurrently, Astronomer's board launched a formal investigation into the incident. The investigation is specifically focused on leadership accountability and workplace ethics concerns. A follow-up statement from the company indicated, "We will share more details as appropriate in the coming days." This formal intervention became unavoidable given the sheer scale of the viral outrage and the direct involvement of the CEO and CPO in an alleged ethical breach. The board's investigation, therefore, cannot be limited to just the immediate incident, but must extend to a comprehensive review of the company's ethical climate, HR policies, and leadership accountability frameworks to prevent future occurrences and rebuild internal trust. This presents a critical opportunity for a cultural reset within the organization. Analysis of corporate governance and human capital implications. Kristin Cabot's role as Chief People Officer and ethical considerations. Kristin Cabot, as Astronomer's Chief People Officer, holds a position of significant responsibility within the organization. Her role is broadly described as the powerhouse behind company culture, recruitment, and keeping the vibes positive for thousands of employees. Her areas of expertise, as listed on her LinkedIn profile, include talent management, employee engagement, HR best practices, and organizational design. She has publicly emphasized her commitment to building award-winning cultures and her ability to win trust with employees of all levels, from CEOs to managers to assistants. The alleged affair with the CEO, her direct superior, represents a profound conflict of interest and a severe breach of professional ethics. Given her explicit responsibility for upholding workplace conduct and addressing misconduct, this situation raises fundamental questions about the integrity of Astronomer's HR function and the fairness of its internal processes, particularly if employees perceive a double standard for leadership. The CPO's role is to be the guardian of ethical conduct, employee well-being, and fair HR practices. When the CPO is allegedly involved in misconduct with the CEO, it creates a systemic risk where the very mechanism designed to address such issues is compromised. This not only makes it impossible for employees to report concerns about this specific situation, but also erodes trust in the entire HR department's ability to act impartially in any future ethical dilemma. The resurfaced LinkedIn posts of Cabot further compound this, as her professional claims now appear hollow, making her an ineffective leader for company culture. This scenario poses an existential threat to internal trust and employee confidence. Companies must have clear, independent reporting lines for allegations against HR leadership or the CEO, often involving the board or an external ombudsman, to ensure accountability and maintain a credible ethical framework. Impact on Astronomer's company culture and reputation. The incident ignited widespread discussion across social media about workplace relationships, ethics, and professionalism in tech companies. Social media users explicitly called out Astronomer for fostering a toxic work culture. This accusation stemmed not only from the alleged affair between married executives, but also from the perceived complicity of another employee, Alyssa Stoddard, who was seen smiling in the video and was allegedly privy to the affair and recently promoted by Cabot. The company's initial silence and the reported instruction for employees at the Manhattan office to stay silent about the matter could further damage internal morale and trust, fostering a climate of fear or complicity. The public perception of Astronomer is now inextricably linked to this scandal, potentially impacting its ability to attract top talent, retain existing employees, and maintain investor confidence. This crisis demonstrates a direct causal link between the alleged personal misconduct of top executives and its ripple effects on corporate culture and talent management. Claims of a toxic work culture and the reported instruction for employees to stay silent indicate that the incident is not isolated but potentially symptomatic of broader cultural issues. A compromised culture can lead to decreased employee morale, higher turnover, difficulty in recruiting top talent, who are increasingly scrutinizing company values, and ultimately, a decline in organizational performance. The fact that the CEO was gushing about the CPO's hiring before the incident could also be re-evaluated for potential pre-existing biases or conflicts of interest in the hiring process itself. Leadership accountability and the board's response. Andy Byron has served as CEO and director of Astronomer since July 0, leading the company's growth and expansion into AI and cloud infrastructure. His prior experience includes significantly scaling revenue at other enterprise SaaS companies. The board's decision to place both Byron and Cabot on leave and launch a formal investigation signals a recognition of the severity of the crisis and a commitment to addressing leadership accountability. The appointment of co-founder Pete DeJoy as interim CEO provides immediate leadership stability and demonstrates a move towards restoring confidence. The reported negotiation of an exit package for Byron further suggests the board is moving towards a permanent separation, indicating a strong stance against the alleged misconduct. Broader implications for tech companies and executive conduct. The Coldplay incident serves as a stark reminder of the heightened scrutiny faced by executives in the digital age, where personal actions can instantly become public corporate crises. It underscores the critical importance of clear, enforced policies regarding workplace relationships, especially those involving power differentials, e.g., CEO and CPO. The crisis highlights the need for robust corporate governance mechanisms, including independent board oversight and clear channels for reporting ethical concerns, to prevent and address misconduct at the highest levels. It reinforces the idea that an executive's personal conduct is no longer entirely separate from their professional responsibilities, particularly when it impacts the company's reputation, culture, and legal standing. This crisis serves as a case study for how deeply intertwined executive personal ethics are with the health of an organization's culture and its long-term viability. Effective corporate governance must extend beyond financial oversight to include rigorous ethical leadership assessment and a commitment to fostering a truly transparent and accountable workplace environment. Conclusion and forward-looking considerations. Summary of key takeaways from the crisis. The Astronomer Coldplay incident unequivocally demonstrates how a seemingly private moment involving high-profile executives, when captured and amplified by pervasive social media, can rapidly escalate into a significant corporate crisis. The dual roles of the CEO and Chief People Officer in the alleged misconduct created a profound ethical dilemma, fundamentally compromising the very function responsible for upholding workplace standards and employee trust. The immediate and widespread public reaction, fueled by nonverbal cues and user-generated content, quickly shaped a negative narrative, highlighting the limitations of traditional, slower crisis communication strategies in the digital age. Furthermore, the crisis exposed potential underlying issues within Astronomer's corporate culture, prompting a formal investigation and immediate leadership changes. Potential long-term impacts on Astronomer and its leadership. Astronomer faces significant and potentially enduring reputational damage, which could impact its brand, customer trust, and partnerships. Rebuilding this trust will necessitate sustained effort and transparent actions. The crisis is likely to have a severe impact on employee morale and trust in leadership, potentially leading to increased turnover. Re-establishing a healthy and ethical workplace culture is paramount for retention. Attracting top talent, especially in the competitive tech industry, may become challenging if the perception of a toxic work culture persists. Depending on the findings of the internal investigation, Astronomer could face legal challenges, including shareholder lawsuits or regulatory inquiries related to corporate governance failures or workplace misconduct. Ultimately, reputational damage and operational disruptions can translate into financial losses, impacting stock performance, if publicly traded, or investor confidence for a private company. Simply removing the implicated individuals and launching an investigation is a necessary first step, but it is unlikely to be sufficient. The toxic work culture allegations and instructions to stay silent suggest deep-seated issues that may predate the concert incident. The long-term impact on Astronomer will depend heavily on its ability to move beyond the immediate scandal and actively reconstruct its internal culture, rebuilding trust, and demonstrating a genuine commitment to ethical leadership and employee well-being. This requires more than just policy changes. It demands a visible shift in leadership behavior and values. A corporate crisis, while damaging, can also be a critical inflection point for positive organizational change. The board and interim CEO must seize this opportunity to implement comprehensive cultural reforms, including transparent communication, robust employee feedback mechanisms, and a renewed emphasis on ethical leadership development to restore internal and external confidence. Lessons for corporate ethics and crisis management in the digital age. The Coldplay Gate incident offers several critical lessons for corporate ethics and crisis management in the contemporary digital landscape. Proactive ethical governance. Companies must establish and rigorously enforce clear policies on executive conduct, workplace relationships, and conflicts of interest, with independent oversight mechanisms. This includes ensuring that such policies are not merely theoretical, but are actively embedded in the organizational culture. Robust HR frameworks. It is imperative to ensure that HR functions have independent reporting lines for allegations against senior leadership, possibly involving external third parties, to maintain impartiality and trust. This prevents situations where the very department responsible for ethics is compromised. Rapid and transparent crisis communication. Organizations must develop and practice agile crisis communication plans that prioritize transparency, speed, and direct engagement with both public and internal stakeholders. The incident demonstrated that silence can be more damaging than difficult truths, as it allows external narratives to solidify. Continuous digital reputation management. Companies need to continuously monitor digital channels for emerging narratives and be prepared to respond swiftly and strategically to user-generated content, which can rapidly shape public perception and accelerate a crisis. Culture of accountability. Fostering a corporate culture where ethical behavior is not just a policy, but a deeply embedded value is crucial. This requires clear consequences for misconduct at all levels, demonstrating that no one, regardless of their position, is above accountability. This incident blurs the lines between personal and professional conduct for executives. What might have once been considered a private indiscretion, when caught in a public forum and amplified digitally, now directly impacts corporate reputation and shareholder value. The public's expectation of ethical behavior from leaders extends beyond the boardroom to their personal lives, especially when those lives become public spectacles. Companies must update their executive codes of conduct to explicitly address behavior outside of traditional work settings, particularly in an era of pervasive social media. This includes clear guidelines on public appearances, personal relationships that could create conflicts of interest, and the understanding that executives are always, to some extent, representing their organization. Training and clear communication about these evolving expectations are crucial for navigating the complexities of modern leadership.